All right. Hello, everybody. James here again. What's up? I guess we're at week 9, right? So let's go ahead and go over this stuff. This week we're going to go over Unit 9 because it's week 9. So let's do it. But there's one piece of information that I want to give you first. I changed the due date for your second assignment, your assignment 2, your persuasive essay. So now the new due date is March 24th at 11:59 p.m. So I basically just moved it back one extra week. That'll give you guys a little bit of extra time to work on your final essay and to ask any questions if you guys have any, of course. So please write this down on your calendar one more time. Your persuasive essay, your assignment 2, the new due date is May 24th at 11:59, okay? Everything else, your oral presentation, June 24th, and your Smart Choice Extra Credits, Units 7 through 12, that's going to be June 26th, okay? So those aren't going to change, but your final essay definitely changed, okay? So you guys get one more week. All right, like I said, we're going to jump into Unit 9 this week. We're going to talk about regrets. We're going to talk about solutions, things that we might do as like alternative actions, and we're going to use something like should have and would have for like imaginary situations as well and alternatives. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into this, okay? So like I said, I'll be able to talk about these regrets and solutions, use should have and would have when offering some advice, perhaps. Okay, and let's go over our vocabulary. So open up your books to page 20, page 56, please. We're going to go over exercise 1 and exercise 2 and build our vocabulary a little bit. Okay, because we want to build our vocabulary. Vocabulary is good. Okay, so let's jump into this. Okay. Wrong one. Okay, so here's our page 56. Okay, again, we're going to use words that describe maybe having regrets, something that you should have done in the past. So you have these certain feelings about something that's happened. And we're going to talk about these feelings and we're going to talk about these behaviors and we'll talk about reactions. Okay, like for example, here's our picture here for exercise 1. And you can see that this person here, this woman here, spilled a bunch of coffee on the table. So there was quite a bad accident here. So let's plug these words from the word bank into our circles down here. So look at the picture. How would you describe the people? Okay, so if you look at number 1 here, this man has, looks like a tissue or a towel, and he's trying to help his boss perhaps. So what word would we use in there? Okay, probably sympathetic. So he feels a little bit sorry for this person. He understands that he's going through a bad situation and wants to help him. Okay, so number 1 would be C. Okay, number 2, you see this man down here. He's kind of laughing a little bit. He thinks it's kind of funny. So how would you describe him? I would say that he is A, amused. If you look at the man on the TV screen here on the monitor, you'll see that he's scratching his head. He's not quite sure what's going on there in this situation. So he would be kind of confused about what's going on here. Number 4, he got the worst of it. So you can see that there's coffee all over him. If you look at his facial expression, you can see that he's a little bit upset. There's coffee on his documents. So how would he feel? Well, he would feel probably a little bit irritated because he just had coffee spilt all over him. Okay, so 4 would be B. Here, this woman here, you can see that she's quite surprised. She's the one that did it, so I can imagine how she feels. She probably feels a little bit embarrassed for spilling coffee all over the boss and his papers. And then the last one here, you can see this woman, she's not even thinking about what's going on here. She's looking at her watch, she's using her smartphone or whatever. She doesn't care. So another word for that, you can say that she is inconsiderate. Okay, she's not even considering what's going on in that situation here. She doesn't care. Okay, so that's the exercise 1 vocabulary. So let's jump down here to exercise 2. And keep those words from exercise 1 in your brains, because we're going to use them for exercise 2 as well. So if you look at exercise 2, we have 8 more words in the box down here. And now what we want to think about is we want to think about reactions to certain situations or emotions that we might have. And we also need to think about behavior as well, okay, certain behavior that we have. So if we look at hurt, well, hurt, when you feel hurt, that means somebody has done something bad to you. So this would be more of a reaction. Okay, so hurt would be considered a reaction to a situation here. Rude, when somebody is rude or not polite. Polite was one of our old vocabulary words from maybe unit 1 or 2, 2 maybe. When somebody's rude, that's the way that somebody behaves. So it's how somebody acts. Somebody is rude. Helpful, same thing. When you are helpful, that's a behavior. You tend to help people, like maybe this person up here, number 1, he's got a towel and he's trying to help the boss, so he's helpful there. Relieved. Relieved, of course, it's probably a reaction to something. If you go through a hard time, you feel relieved that it's finally finished. Perhaps after an exam or a presentation, you're like, oh, it feels good, so you feel relieved. Feelings as well, an emotion, you might feel uncomfortable. It's a reaction to something, okay, you're not comfortable. Thoughtful, okay, thoughtful would be considered a behavior as well. Okay, when you're thoughtful, you think about things, you're more concerned about issues, you're worried about people when they go through hard times. What about grateful? Grateful, well, when somebody gives you something, well, you're usually thankful for that, or you're usually grateful for that. So that would be considered a reaction as well. And shocked, okay, I can imagine when coffee was spilt on his head, he's probably a little bit shocked. So that was probably a reaction or emotion there too. Okay, and for the instructions on our PPT, it says, what did it say here? It said add 2 more words to each. So basically what you can do is you can just take some words from the picture here, like amused. Okay, amused. Where would you put amused? Well, this guy down here, he's amused that the boss got coffee spilt on his head, so we can say that's a reaction. Irritated. Okay, irritated. Well, again, that's probably a reaction to having coffee spilt on your head. Sympathetic. Sympathetic would be more of a behavior when you act toward somebody or you behave towards another person. We can say they are sympathetic. Embarrassed, that would be a reaction as well. If you look at the woman number 5 here, number 5, she's embarrassed, so she's reacted to an accident that she has done. Confused. Confused. The person in the picture here, they're reacting. He's reacting to the situation here. He doesn't know what's going on. So confused would be a reaction. And last one, being inconsiderate. Rude and inconsiderate, they're basically the same thing. They're types of behaviors. So when you think about how you react or what kind of behaviors you have, we use these words often when we're describing people's behaviors or emotions or reactions to certain situations. Okay, all right, so that's our vocabulary for Unit 9. Let me just change the page to our grammar here. Now for our grammar point, but let me show you guys. You guys know the answers there. Again, as always, please go over the words that I post on these PPTs here, but don't just focus on these words here on the PPT. Go to page 138 and focus on the words there as well. Big, huge list of vocabulary words on page 138. Okay, so that's it for your vocabulary. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into your grammar point for this week. Could, not so much, but we're going to focus on should and would in this situation here. So I'm going to show you another PPT here, and we're going to focus on should have and would have. And this is basically something that we use. They're called modals, and we use them in situations like this. Should have and would have plus the past participle. It's used to talk about imagined situations, usually that happened in the past, and now you're thinking about it again, and perhaps you want to maybe change what you had done in the past, or you have a little bit of regret. You should have done something, or you shouldn't have done something. You can have a negative as well in this situation. So an example would be something like, I should have spoken to her in Korean. I should have spoken to her in Korean. Now, what does that mean? It means basically that when you talk to her, you didn't speak to her Korean. So you can say, I was able to speak Korean, but I didn't. So you have a little bit of regret here. So I should have spoken to her in Korean. I would have spoken to her in Korean. Well, maybe this is a situation where your friend told you, I met this girl, she spoke Korean. I should have spoken to her in Korean, but I didn't. And then your friend would say, well, I would have spoken to her in Korean. So here's a situation where you'd say, if I were you in that situation, I can speak Korean and I would speak to her in Korean if I was in that situation. So here, we talked about modals before, right? We talked about those in the second conditional. And here in this situation, it's imaginary. So if I were you, I can speak Korean and I would speak to her. So if it was me, I would have spoken to her in Korean if it was me. Should have is used to express advice in the past. Again, this might come to, a regret as well. I should have sent her a birthday card. Did you send her a birthday card? No, I didn't. But you should have. Okay, you should have sent her. So here, you didn't send her a card, and that was a mistake. You should have done that. Okay, you should have done it. It's a mistake. You have a regret. Would have is used to suggest an alternative. Okay, another way of doing something. So here an example would be, why did you go to France? I would have gone to Italy. I would have gone to Italy. So again, here's an alternative, similar to the one up here, if I were you. Okay, if I were you, if the situation was changed. Okay, so here, in the same situation, I would have done something different. So again, would have is used to suggest an alternative in a situation there. Word order, especially when you're asking questions with these, yes or no questions, often very common. So if you're going to ask yes or no questions and use should or would, in this situation, you'll use should or would, okay, at the beginning of the question. Here is your subject, and then you're going to use your have plus your past participle, or your PP as you guys like to call it, and then you can have an optional here. You can just say, should I have waited? That would have been a perfectly good question there. Or you can use the full question, say, should I have waited for her? Okay, should I have waited for her? WH question words. Here the word order is a little bit different. Here you have the WH question word that goes at the beginning, then should or would, the subject, and then have plus the past participle. So something like this, what should I have done, or where would you have gone in this situation? So you can ask questions, not only just offer advice or suggestions or alternatives, but you can also ask questions about this as well. So this would be the word order if you're going to ask questions using these modals. Okay, here's a quick exercise. We want to complete the sentences with should have or would have, okay, and the verb in parentheses. So think about, the situation. Okay, is it a regret or is it offering a suggestion? We blah 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 make other plans, but we didn't have the time. Okay, we didn't have the time. It sounds like somebody has a regret here. There was something that they should have changed in the past. So they'll probably say something like, we should have made other plans, but we didn't. Okay, we didn't have the time to do that. Okay, so here's a definite regret. Okay, definite regret. What about number 2? if he had a good job, here's probably a hint that might help you see, oh, hey, this is something that I saw with a conditional. If he had a good job, he'd blah, 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 buy a bigger house, but he never wanted to change his job. So here would probably be a second conditional or a conditional. We would use would in this situation here. If he had a good job, he would have bought a bigger house, but he never wanted to change his job. Okay, so here's an alternative. It's also an imaginary situation similar to the second conditional. Number 3, why didn't you tell us it wasn't polite to be late? We blah, blah, blah come earlier. Okay, again, another alternative here. Why didn't you tell us? We would have come earlier. We would have. This was a suggestion. Okay, also, it was something that happened in the past as well. Okay, last one. Sarah blah 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 eat breakfast. Now she doesn't have enough energy to study for the exam this afternoon. Oh, okay. Here is some advice that you're giving somebody, and probably Sarah has a little bit of regret in this situation here. So Sarah should have eaten breakfast. Now she doesn't have enough energy to study for the exam this afternoon. Okay, so think about the situations, whether there seems to be a regret or whether there's an alternative solution to the situation. Okay, all right, so there you go. That was your grammar point. That was should have and would have. Okay, now let's look at your grammar point on page 58 in your book. So turn to page 58. Oh, what page am I on? I'm on page 59. Okay, here we go. Okay, as usual, check out the boxes at the top. Okay, again, good explanations on the grammar. I like the grammar explanations in the back of the book better. Better exercises, at least that's my opinion. So if you guys want some extra information, go to the page in the back. Okay, so this time we have a negative in this situation. Okay, not only do we have questions and we're offering some sort of regret, but now we've got negatives in this situation here. So sometimes we can say shouldn't have done something or wouldn't have done something in this situation here. So you can use negatives with your modals as well. Okay, so let's look at exercise number 1. Okay, complete the sentences. Use should have or shouldn't have and the verb in parentheses here. Okay, so I am so sorry. Sounds like we have a regret. I should have sent a thank you card sooner. Okay. All right, number 2. I blah 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 my boss my number. Now he calls me on Sundays. Oh, it sounds like somebody did something and now they regret it. Okay, they did something, now they regret it. So they probably say I shouldn't have, and we're going to use the PP. I shouldn't have given my boss my number. Now he calls me on Sundays. So I shouldn't have given my boss. I did, and now he calls me. I shouldn't have done that. We blah 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 Kim on her birthday. I hope she isn't hurt. Sounds like they didn't do something, but they should have. Okay, so here we say we should have past participle here, PP. We should have called Kim on her birthday. I hope she isn't hurt. We should have called her. Number 4, Tom posts those embarrassing photos. Embarrassing. Oh, sounds like we got some regret here, definitely, when you're embarrassed, on his website. So it sounds like he did do something. Now he regrets it. He should have done the opposite. So I will say Tom shouldn't have, and then of course the PP, shouldn't have posted those embarrassing photos on his website. He shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have. Okay, last one. I apologize. Okay, another regret. We blah 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 you. The meeting was canceled. Okay, it's something that they didn't do. They didn't do it. but now they think the opposite. So we should have past participle told you. We should have told you the meeting was canceled. Okay, so I shouldn't have given, we should have called, Tom shouldn't have posted, and we should have told you. Okay, so there you go, there's exercise 1. So let's jump down to exercise 2. Okay, we're going to use a combination of all sorts of things here. We're going to bring in our negatives. So we say should have, shouldn't have, would have, or wouldn't have here. Okay. Number 1 is already done. It says, I invited my neighbors over for dinner, and they arrived over an hour late. Isn't that inconsiderate? What would you have done? Oh, we got a question here, a WH question. What would you have done? I probably, blah, 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 said anything. Anything is used with a negative. If it was affirmative, if it was a plus, we would say something. Okay, but here we've got anything. So we've only got 2 choices in this situation here. And this person probably wouldn't want to cause a problem. So this person would say, I probably wouldn't have negative said anything. I probably wouldn't have said anything. And then B would respond, really? But I was so irritated. Next, at dinner, they asked how much we make. And we're talking about salary. Okay, they asked how much money we make. I blah 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 told them, but I was so shocked that I did. So now they're thinking the opposite here. They did something. They did something that they want to change now. Okay, and they think about this. So I shouldn't have told them. Okay, I shouldn't have. I'll just bring this down there. Okay, I shouldn't have told them, but I was so shocked that I did. So I did something in the past. It's the opposite. I wanted to change that. B responds, no way. But they really blah 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 asked you that. They really blah 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 asked you that. So they did something, and it should be the opposite. They shouldn't have. Okay, they shouldn't have asked you that. Then they got up and left in the middle of dinner. They blah 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 stayed until the end, don't you think? Okay, they got up, they did something, okay, and then they need to have done something. Okay, so what should they have done? Okay, instead of something they didn't do. They didn't stay until the end. They didn't stay until the end. So they should have stayed till the end. Of course, I blah 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 left early. Okay, here this person is saying that they would have done the opposite. So her friend would say, of course, I wouldn't have left early. These people should have stayed. They should have stayed until the end. Of course, I wouldn't have left early. Anyway, can you imagine? Have you ever done any of these things? These people must have been very rude, the neighbors. Okay? All right, so that's it. Okay, that's it for your grammar exercises. Maybe a little bit confusing, okay, this time around, but again, if you do have any extra questions about it, go to your grammar reference page on page 133. Okay, otherwise, that's it for your grammar and your vocabulary for Unit 9. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this and close this out. Jump back to our PPT here. Whoops. Okay, so I gave you the answers on those pages. Make sure you review them if you don't watch the video. Okay, and that's it for your vocab and your grammar. So let me go over your homework. This week, there is no conversation with other people. I want to get more into your essay. So your usual homework, please read the story, okay, from the unit. This unit exercise, or this unit story, is Ask the Etiquette Expert. Do the exercise on page 60. Study Unit 9 vocabulary words on page 138 as usual. complete all Unit 9 activities in smartchoicepractice.com. Okay, the usual. And don't forget to watch your Plato video. Don't forget to watch your video because that's really important. That's for your grade as well. Now here's what I want to see. Okay, your Kakao Talk homework. Again, there's no conversation homework. There's no handouts or anything like that. But here I want to see your guys' first paragraph for your essay. So for homework this week, you will post your introductory paragraph for your assignment to your persuasive essay. So this would have been part A for the outline that it gave you. So the introductory paragraph, you're going to post your title. Okay, post the essay of your title. It's the same title that you used for your persuasive paragraph, your assignment 1. Write background information, so 3 sentences for your background information. Counter argument, 1 sentence, and your topic sentence. I don't know why concluding sentence is there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, concluding sentence, vague. No. Okay, just your topic sentence. So let me go over this one more time. That's my mistake. So again, for your Kakao Talk homework, you're going to show me your introductory paragraph for your assignment 2 persuasive essay. So again, post your title, write background information, that's 3 sentences, counter argument, 1 sentence, and your topic sentence is just 1 sentence. Okay, so you're just going to write 5 sentences basically, and again, I just want to see that you're heading the right direction, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Remember to use proper signals for your counter argument and topic sentence. Go over the PPT that I posted a few weeks ago. That PPT covers your signals, covers what you should, your target language that I'm going to be looking for. Remember, this is just the start of your essay. You're going to have 4 or 5 paragraphs in this essay. So for the completed assignment, you should have at least 4 paragraphs and a total of 300 to 320 words. So just for this homework this week, I want to see 5 sentences, your introductory paragraph, okay? So that's going to be due next Sunday, okay, May 17th, 11:59 p.m. Okie dokie. That's it for Unit 9, guys. You guys have a good week. If you have any questions, please post them to the Class Kakao. You guys are doing really, really great on the Class Kakaos. I appreciate it, really do. Okay, other than that, you guys have a great week. Remember that you guys have an extra week for your persuasive essay now. Your assignment 2 is due May 24th. And bada bing, bada boom, you guys, that's it. We are done. So have a great week. Catch you later.